So in this video I wanted to go into what this is and how it's controlled and what it does, kind of thing. It's going to be a much shorter video because we're kind of going to be repeating ourselves slightly here, and you'll understand what I mean by that shortly. But after this then I'll go into what the CMOS is, and the CMOS battery there is the thing that I circled. But for now let's talk about this thing. And what is this thing? Well, this is the Super I/O. And the Super I/O is it's very similar to the chipset. Modern day modern day motherboards will pretty much put these things together in effect. Before I was talking about this north, I always think about it as north and south, and these are controlling different things. The north is controlling the CPU and the fast connections here, and the south kind of controls the slower ones. Well, when I say slower, I mean it's still fast, because actually the Super I/O controls the even slower than the south ones, and I'm not talking very slow here. So what kind of things would that be? Well, so for example, when the temperature gets hot, I was talking earlier about being able to show on on your case your fan speeds and stuff. With the lights, they can actually shine out red when it gets too hot, etc. So that's all controlled by the motherboard. Well, this section here wouldn't really be controlling it. That would be the Super I/O. It's not super important that the fan controller turns on in nanoseconds or ridiculously fast speeds, but it's obviously fast still, right? So it's controlling the temperature and the voltage, and fans. It's got the fan speed sensors, things like that on it. It also will then be doing the slower things like your mouse input and your keyboard input. So that would be controlling those kind of slower things. And again, when I put my mouse through, and when I put my keyboard and use it and have an input into it, it's very slow relative to the speed difference in the northbound section here. So in these, when the CPU's talking to the RAM, yes, it's quite slow. But obviously, you've typed in a letter, or you've typed in a command, or you've used a mouse anyway, and you can see that it's very fast. Even when I'm drawing here, this is technically an input. When I'm drawing, as soon as I put the pen on the tablet, it's going through, right? So we can say that it's slow, but it's only slow relative to the other things. So this Super I/O port is doing kind of slower thing. Back in the days, it would have controlled the floppy disk, potentially the CD drive and things like that. It's not completely useful to describe how the floppy disk works in a very, very fast way, if that makes... Sorry, not describe. It's not useful to connect to the floppy disk in a really fast way. So in this sense then, I'd probably say stop here at the Super I/O, because afterwards we'll be talking about the ROM, and then I think it might be useful to put them all together just to sort of show you what the North Bridge and the South Bridge, how it connects to the CPU, and how that connects then to in more of an abstract way. I'll come away from the motherboard and I'll just draw it out. So I think that might be a useful thing to zoom out after we go into the ROM and the BIOS, etc. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to go into the Super I/O too much in this video. There's lots more to it though. We'll possibly go through this in a future video, more advanced hardware stuff. But for now, thank you very much for listening.